Welcome, welcome to the Aliya Mathiesen Show. I'm your host, Aliya Mathiesen. We are here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. A lot of you have been asking me to do a podcast, and I've kind of been putting it off because I'm very busy with my activism, trying to keep America free and have my son grow up in the America I grew up in. So it's been a lot on my plate as a new mom, and, I've been married a year or 2 years actually this Tuesday. So I feel like that's still new. It's a lot of responsibility to your family, but I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about activism and just really creating a world for our children that is free. That's as basic as it gets. So I'm a truth seeker. A little bit about me. I definitely make Thanksgiving dinners awkward, that's for sure, because I'm the person who's bringing up all the topics nobody wants to talk about. I'm kind of that kid who is like, why can't we talk about religion at the dinner table? Why can't we talk about politics? Like, I want to discuss all the things nobody else wants to talk about. So I'm not just talking to myself here. My husband, Brian, is behind the camera. Say hi, Brian.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, so he is going to kind of interject at random times. But just a little bit about me. I've been kind of a rebel without a cause my whole life. I was always kind of the black sheep of the family, but it's been good. It's worked out in my favor, I feel like. I feel like you can't really be in the freedom movement without being a little bit eccentric and definitely having a little bit of balls to question authority, You definitely need that to be in this movement. So originally I was kind of into writing and film. So I published 3 books. I definitely went the film route. I did a short film. I had actually created a script out of my 3rd novel, and I went the whole film circuit or the film festival circuit thing and all of that. That was really fun. And then I moved to Texas and COVID hit. And after COVID hit, I was like, okay, something is fishy. I don't like this. I had been kind of in the medical freedom movement for a minute, and I saw them using similar tactics like they did with the measles. People are spreading measles, asymptomatic carriers, blah, blah, blah. Except it was a lot more intense than the measles thing. It wasn't just about a vaccination. They were locking us down. They were telling people they can't work, stuff like that. So it got to the point where I was like, I need to organize a rally. So that's what I did. And that's kind of what threw me into the realm of politics. And I'm happy to be here, guys. Thanks for making space for me. Today, we are going to be talking about some really hot topics. And that's what this podcast is going to be doing in general. We're just going to be discussing very, very hot topics that other people don't want to talk about. This topic that we're going to be talking about today is the 2030 agenda. Know what Agenda 2030 is?
I do not.
Okay, what does it sound like? If you had to take a guess what it was.
Definitely sounds like something the government wants for us. Not too sure what it's about, but definitely need to learn about it if it's something that's going to be voting on.
Agenda 2030. I'm going to assume that it is something that a legislature is going to come out in 2030, but I have no idea what.
Okay. The question is, do you know what 2030 agenda is?
No.
No. Okay. Have you heard of it?
No.
Can you take some guesses? What do you think it is? If you had to
Is it
guess?
something local, state, or national?
It's global.
Oh, global.
Uh-huh. Does it sound like a conspiracy theory or just what does it sound like?
I mean, who can really talk about what's conspiracy theory and not conspiracy theory anymore?
It's true.
No, I do not.
Have you heard of Agenda 2030?
No.
And if you were to take a guess, what do you think it would be?
Something COVID related?
Okay.
I really have no idea. I've never heard of it.
Okay.
I do not know.
Have you heard of it?
I've never heard of it before.
If you were to take a wild guess about what it was, what do you think it would be?
Agenda 2030. Maybe something that has to do with infrastructure planning.
What do you think it is?
Probably something to do with politics. I'm not on the internet at all though. So
Okay. Okay.
But
Does it sound like a conspiracy theory or
No.
Okay.
It sounds like something that they're trying to actually do in the government, but
Right.
maybe it also has to do with taxes and
Okay. So that's a good guess.
Yes, I do. It's where the UN is trying to take over the world
And so there's like 170 some countries that are already part of the Agenda 21. And so there's a few countries that aren't part of that plan yet. They haven't been sucked in yet. But yeah, so they're planning over the next 10 years is to pretty much take over the world with their new world order and the one world economy and just taking over.
Is it a conspiracy theory or is it real life?
Some people say it's conspiracy. Some people say it's real life. I think it's real life. We're in the middle of it. Yeah, we're in the takeover, the Great Reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to take over the entire world.
All right, so the 2030 agenda, y'all, what is it? I decided that we're going to dive into that today. I got some articles for you guys, and I'm just going to kind of read what it is on the United Nations website. So I'm going to go there right now. So go to sustainable development, UN.org, and this is where you can read this article. And I'm going to tell you what the goal of the 2030 agenda is, so you can kind of hear what they're labeling it as. So first it goes into people. We are determined to end poverty and hunger in all their forms and dimensions to ensure that all human beings can fulfill their potential and dignity and equality in a healthy environment. That sounds nice, doesn't it? Oh, how lovely of them. Then we have planet. We are determined to protect the planet from degradation, including through sustainable consumption and production, sustainably managing its natural resources, and taking urgent action on climate change so that it can support the needs of the present and future generations. Okay, that sounds not bad, I guess. Prosperity. We are determined to ensure that all human beings can We are here to ensure that all human beings can enjoy prosperous and fulfilling lives, and that economic, social, and technological progress occurs in harmony with nature. Ooh, wow. Okay, cool. That sounds great, doesn't it? Then peace. We are determined to foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies, which we are free from fear and violence. There can be no sustainable development without peace, and no peace without sustainable development. Okay, honorable, sure. Partnership. We are determined to mobilize the means required to implement this agenda through a revitalized global partnership for sustainable development based on a spirit of strengthened global solidarity. So basically what they're saying is this is a united agenda. Like, all the nations are supposed to be united in this agenda. And that's where that whole Build Back Better slogan that Biden's using comes from, is from this kind of global, we're all going to build a new world where everything's perfect. It's pretty much like heaven on earth, just from reading this. So all of those goals aren't bad. Those are all great goals, right? They sound really good. But let's see some more. Let's go into 5 things you need to know about the 2030 agenda from the UN Development Program. All right, the 2030 agenda applies to all countries and actors. Previous development plans have mainly focused on progress in developing nations, but today's reality is different. A majority of the world's poor live in middle-income countries, and inequalities within countries are on the rise, and the effects of climate change and environmental degradation are felt by people and communities across the globe. The SDGs are interlinked. Traditional development efforts have often focused on one issue at one time. First hunger, then clean energy, then inclusive institutions, for example. The SDGs recognize that development must balance economic, social, and environmental sustainability. So, this is what they're telling us that they want to do. It all sounds really great. We're leaving no one behind is number 3. Let's see what else. Development must be smart. If it's not risk-informed, it's not sustainable. Everyone is needed. So this is what they're presenting to people. They are telling us that you need to become a part of this kind of agenda, this global agenda for this amazing utopia that we're all going to live in. So let's see what Forbes had to say about what this would look like in actuality. And this is where it gets interesting. Welcome to 2030 reads the headline. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. Yikes. How does that sound, Brian? Do you think you want to be a part of this?
No.
No? What?
Hard pass.
Really? Wow. Okay. So this is like, we're going to pretend like we live in 2030, this article, and it's going to show us what life would be like. So let's dive into this. This is where I got really, really interested in this 2030 agenda that we're seeing all these different politicians and global leaders talk about. And in New Zealand, I don't know if they're called presidents in New Zealand. What are they called in New Zealand? Prime minister? I don't know. Do you know, Brian?
No, I don't. That's a good question.
Whatever they're called, the leaders in New Zealand, I believe it's a lady, and she said that they were definitely going to be working on the 2030 agenda. So this is just out there in the open. This is not like a conspiracy theory, you know. It probably used to be a conspiracy theory, like a lot of things that have happened this year that now are just reality. But yeah, welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say our city? Ooh. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes. Should probably get some clothes at least. Yikes. It might seem odd to you. Yeah, it does seem a little bit odd to me. But it makes perfect sense for us in this city. Everything you considered a product has now become a service. Wow, that's Black Mirror-ish. We have access to transportation, accommodation, food, and all the things we need in our daily lives. One by one, all of these things became free, so it ended up not making sense for us to own much. So that pretty much is the agenda of the left, I feel like, is to make everything free. You know, I feel like that's the whole Democratic platform's slogan is like free everything. Everything must be free and everyone deserves it. Everything is a right. You have a right to own everything that you have, apparently, for free without working, because working is overrated. First, communication became digitized and free to everyone. Then, when clean energy became free, things started to move quickly. Transportation dropped dramatically in price. It made no sense for us to own cars anymore because we could all drive a driverless vehicle or a flying car for longer journeys within minutes. Flying cars, guys, we are at the flying cars part of the year. I guess they were saying that was going to be in like 2010. Remember, everyone's like flying cars, that's going to be a thing. And then all we came up with is eating Tide Pods. But apparently in 2030, flying cars are actually going to exist. So I'm excited for that part of this agenda. But yeah, flying cars. Let's see. We started transporting ourselves in a much more organized and coordinated way when public transport became easier, quicker, and more convenient than the car. Now I can hardly believe that we accepted congestion and traffic jams, not to mention the air pollution from combustion engines. What were we thinking? Yeah. Imagine going in your own car to drive where you want to go, whenever you want to go. That is crazy. I can't imagine someone like that. That's nuts. Sometimes I use my bike when I go to see my friends. I enjoy the exercise and the ride. It kind of gets the soul to come along on the journey. Funny how some things never seem to lose their excitement. Walking, biking, cooking, drawing, and growing plants. I guess this is what you have to live for in 2030 when you have no job. It makes perfect sense and reminds us of how our culture emerged out of a close relationship with nature. In our city, we don't pay any rent because someone else is using our free space whenever we do not need it. My living room is used for business meetings when I'm not there. Would you, how would you feel, Brian? You say you're like just off on a grocery run. You come back to your house and there's like a meeting going on in your living room. Like that would be so weird.
Well, is there gonna be grocery runs, or aren't they just gonna drop
right,
off?
They're just gonna drop off
pack?
your bread like Hunger Games from a parachute. It just will land in a tree. I can't. Okay, so you get back to your house. There's a dude in a tie there with holding his business meeting. You're like, my baby was playing there.
What is he doing? Is he like, why isn't he?
Yeah, why does he have a business meeting anyways when you don't need money? This is very contradictory already.
The elites are coming in your house.
Bill Gates is in your house right now, and he's holding his business meeting of how they're gonna continue giving you more free stuff. That's, I guess, their business strategy is you don't need to work for anything. Once in a while, I will choose to cook for myself. It is easy. The necessary kitchen equipment is delivered at my door within minutes. Now that sounds cool. Amazon Prime is getting like, they're going to be like, hey, can we drop it to your bedside at night? You know, that first it was like, we'll drop it at your door. And then it was like, oh, we can actually have a key and we'll come in your house and leave it in a special spot. They're just going to come into your room at night when you're sleeping. You have a package. So yeah, that's interesting. So they'll just be delivering, I guess, your cooking supplies. That's cool. Very cool. Since transport became free, they keep mentioning that transport's free. I love it. We stopped having. I know Uber drivers are out of business, but I guess you don't need to work anyway. We stopped having all those things stuffed into our homes. I guess your home is just like a box, maybe. You don't have any decor or anything, probably because you don't own anything. Why keep a pasta maker and a crepe cooker crammed into our cupboards? We can just order them when we need them. I guess if it's in minutes. This also made the breakthrough of our circular economy, easier. When products are turned into services, no one has an interest in things with a short lifespan. Everything is designed for durability, repairability, and recyclability. The materials are flowing more quickly in our economy and can be transformed into new products pretty easily. Environmental problems seem far away since we only use clean energy and clean production methods. This air is clean, the water is clean, and nobody would dare to touch the protected areas of nature because they constitute such value to our well-being. Wow, beautiful. In the cities, we have plenty of green space and plants and trees all over. I still do not understand why in the past we filled all these spots in the city with concrete. Probably because the government wanted to do that. I don't know. It seems like the government causes all these issues and then they're like, let us fix it. We'll do a great job at fixing it, even though they're the reason that we have like all this pollution and stuff, you know. But what do I know? I'm just a girl with a podcast. Anyway, shopping. I can't really remember what that is. For most of us, it has been turned into choosing things to use. Sometimes I find this fun, and sometimes I just want the algorithm to do it for me. It knows my taste better than I do by now. So I wonder if this algorithm, like, I guess retail therapy isn't a thing in this universe of 2030. This is so weird. Shopping isn't a thing. You just get chosen for by the algorithm. And how does it know you? Like, that's what I want to know. How does it work? Is it like a plant in your brain, like an implant? Like, did Tesla invent this? Like, it's strange, guys. It's a strange world we're living in. It seems so much like Black Mirror. If you guys have seen the show Black Mirror, this is exactly what this world sounds like. So I wonder if that show's like pre-programming, as they call it. When AI and robots took over so much of our work, we suddenly had time to eat well, sleep well, and spend time with other people. When robots took over our work. Interesting. The concept of rush hour makes no sense anymore. Since the work we can do can be done at any time, I don't really know if I would call it work anymore. It was more like thinking time, creation time, and development time. So, like, what do you do, though? Like, what do? You don't do anything. What are you creating? You don't have businesses anymore because the robots took over. So, like, Brian, imagine we're in this world, right? What are you going to do? What are you creating? What are you doing?
I mean, I love music, so I'll probably just like play guitar and drums and stuff.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're gonna allow me to.
Who's they?
I mean,
The algorithms?
like, are we all sharing one drum set on my street, or like, how does this work?
That's a good question. You can all jam at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. And then, like, what for, though? You know, like, you work so that you can reap the benefits, right? Like, cool, my business grew and I like got all of this satisfaction from knowing people are using my product. But you don't need products anymore because everyone can just have it shipped to their house in 3 seconds by creepy Amazon. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, music is free. So you're not making any money off of anything because you don't own anything. So you're literally just like existing. It's so strange.
I think there's a certain like, you know, you got to be proud of something. I mean, I guess you'll still be able to create, but there's something about going and reaping, you know, the seeds that you planted, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. And like, what if you get the groceries from your creepy Amazon delivery guy and they're terrible? Or what if they lie to you and they're like, oh, they're organic, but they're not really, and you can't even pick it out yourself? What if they get those really bad watermelons and you can't blame your mom anymore on the fact that your watermelon is really, really soft?
It's going to be grown in a big warehouse.
Yeah. I mean, isn't Bill Gates working on that right now? Something about like, he's definitely working on getting rid of all meat and introducing like fake meat or something.
Beyond.
Yes.
Yeah, Beyond Meat. He's behind that.
I
So
don't know if that's his company, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he is definitely tied to that. Let's continue in this creepy Forbes article. All right, for a while, everything was turned into entertainment and people did not want to bother themselves with difficult issues. Do people even bother themselves with difficult issues like currently? I feel like that's why we're in the situation we're in, is because people don't want to bother themselves with difficult issues. It was only at the last minute that we found out how to use all these new technologies for better purposes than just killing time. So magically in the future, in 2030, you're just going to magically know how to be productive. Procrastination isn't going to exist anymore in 2030. You're just going to become a better human. I swear, these utopias, I'd like... Oh, gosh. My biggest concern is all the people who do not live in our city, those we lost on the way, those who decided that it became too much, all this technology. Whoa! Okay, that took a dark turn, guys. That took a dark, dark turn. The biggest concern is all the people who do not live in our city, those we lost on the way, those who decided it became too much for all this technology. Like, what happened to them, though? Did they die? Were they put in a FEMA camp? Like, did they just become, like, did they go to a desert and just, like, build an igloo there? Like, what happened to the people along the way?
Did you say build an igloo in the desert?
Yes, I did.
I guess it works because when it gets really cold at night in the desert,
Then that's when you start
that's when
building.
you need the igloo.
Those who felt obsolete and useless when the robots and AIs took over big parts of our job. Like, those people are so lame, feeling useless when they have no work. Like, I don't understand this. This is literally made for, like, Gen Z or, like, the young millennials, right? Like, I... Okay, let's see. Let's keep reading. I now have cancer from this article, but it's fine. Those who got upset with the political system and turned against it, those heathens, they live a different kind of life outside of the city. Some have formed little self-supplying communities. Wow. Others just stayed in the empty and abandoned houses in the small 19th century villages. I'm getting a little creeped out now. I'm not gonna lie. Once in a while, I get annoyed about the fact that I have no real privacy. Oh, at least they're being honest. This is the only negative part that they've said this whole article, is that they're just slightly annoyed that I have no privacy. You know, it makes sex a little awkward. Nowhere I can go and not be registered. I know that somewhere everything I do, think, and dream is recorded. Whoa. Okay. Where did this come from? Can you guys tell me what part of the sustainability agenda is this helping? The recording what you think, dream, and feel now. So that's weird, y'all. I just hope that nobody will use it against me, is what they say next. Yeah, imagine that. How could that be used against you? That's just crazy. Oh, gosh. Okay. All in all, it's a good life. Much better than the path we were on, where it became so clear that we could not continue with the same model of growth. We had all these terrible things happening: lifestyle diseases, climate change, the refugee crisis, environmental degradation, completely congested cities, water pollution, air pollution, social unrest, and unemployment. We lost way too many people before we realized that we could do these things differently. Wow. You definitely will get rid of diseases when you implement this new agenda. Diseases, gone. Just gone. Climate change, gone. And I guess in this world, refugees are just welcome. I guess it's not like, I guess, I don't know, is it like a global thing? Oh yeah, right, it's a global thing, right? Because it's a global agenda, right? So I guess there wouldn't be any borders in this world. So everyone would be an amazing human being. They would be a productive human being. They would get everything for free. There's no crime, I guess, in this world. Especially now that they can read your thoughts and your dreams. That's definitely not a recipe for crime. There's no social unrest, and racism's gone. This cured us of racism. That's cool. And unemployment, because everyone's unemployed in this world. You will have no unemployment. So that's great, guys. That is great.
The fact that you say diseases will be gone kind of makes you wonder, how do they have control over that? Like,
Yeah.
like what things, I mean, as someone that kind of, you know, thinks into things often, what things...
You shouldn't do that too often now.
Yeah, you can't. What things have they created and then solved?
Right. And that's a thing. That's literally what my first point of this whole thing is like the government literally creates problems and then they give you solutions. Like, we are going to have all of our children injected with heavy metals. We are going to poison your food supply and your water supply and dump fluoride in your water so that you're really dumb. And then we're going to say, oh, we need clean water. We need good food. You are the reason our food is garbage because the FDA approves garbage. Like, I don't understand. Ah, man. Like, you guys created the thousands of chemicals. What do they call them? The beyond chemicals, the forever chemicals. That was all, like, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. But then they're going to magically come in and fix it, all the elites. Like, please, stop. You guys have done enough. You guys are fired. You're fired in this. Even in your unemployed world, you're fired. Like, I cannot. It's just crazy. And then, like, my thoughts are like, what are you willing to sacrifice? People are willing to sacrifice so much for comfort, convenience, and perceived safety, right? We don't want to have to deal with reality. We don't want to have to deal with diseases or unemployment or the fact that you have no work ethic, so you got fired. We don't want to have to deal with any of this. So we're going to let the government take over everything, including our literal thoughts and dreams. And that's going to fix it. And now I'm so much better. I don't have to work. I can just be lazy, sit around, eat my food that I cooked from my weird Amazon delivery. Like, it blows my mind, guys, that people literally hear this and they think, that's a good idea. I don't mind the government inside my brain. I don't mind a random business meeting in my living room. I don't even need to own clothes. Like, as long as there's no more diseases and civil unrest, because apparently this will cure all of that. It's just mind-blowing, y'all. It's really crazy. And then it reminds me of the movie Mad Max. You know how Immortan Joe has this, like, he basically owns all the water in the world. So he gets to distribute it to all the people. So he basically leads everything because he has all of the goods, right? And this is the problem with communism that little leftists don't seem to understand. When the government owns all your property, because it's not that nobody owns anything. The government owns everything. That's really what it is. You don't have property. You don't own anything. They own everything. So they get to tell you, hey, if you don't be a good little boy and submit to your master, you don't get water today. You don't get your bread from Amazon today. You don't get your cooking supplies because you weren't vaccinated. Also, you have one too many children and you're only allowed to have one because, you know, global, we have too many children. It's ruining global warming, or I don't know what they say to justify like population control. You know, Bill Gates could tell you a little bit about that. But too many children, miss, you don't get that bread today. You don't get anything because we own everything. And if you don't listen to us, then you're kicked out of society. So this is the crazy world that we're being manipulated to think is a great idea. And again, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is on Forbes. You can read this yourself. This is being presented to people as an actual good idea. This is like the brainwashing. It's beginning and people are listening and saying, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. Like, what? I can't. Like, I feel like my whole generation grew up on dystopian novels. Like, we all read Hunger Games, right? Did you all read Hunger Games? I read Hunger Games. I watched Divergent. I read Divergent novels. Anyone else? This is a terrible idea. I mean, come on. This is literally worse than Hunger Games. Like, this is terrifying. I can't anymore. We are living in this strangest Twilight Zone. Here's the thing. They want everyone equally miserable. And we're already seeing this with the Black Lives Matter movement. And I'm not talking about what is behind the movement in terms of racial equality. There's definitely issues in the Black community, whatever, sure. I'm talking about the rationality of equality of opportunity. That's totally fine. But then it becomes something else. And that's what's kind of happened with the modern Black Lives Matter movement is it's become equality of outcome. We want equality of outcome now. And that is a completely different thing. I agree. We should all start at the same place. We should all start with the same opportunities. Sure. In a perfect world, we would. But equality of outcome, that it doesn't factor in your accomplishments. It basically makes you all have no identity. You have no identity at that point. You can't be good at anything. Because your efforts don't matter. You all have the same outcome. You work hard, it doesn't matter, because that lazy guy who's smoking pot his whole life and didn't do anything, he's gonna have the same outcome as you are. And that is where we have a serious issue, people. And I think we really need to take a look at these global agendas that are being pushed onto us, because they're not just coming from the top. They're being kind of squeezed into all these other outlets like Black Lives Matter and different things. And I think it's very problematic. And let me just say, I do not want to live in 2030. Do you want to live in 2030? Join us next week on the Aliya Mathiesen Show, and we are going to talk more about these hot topics, 6 p.m. Central Time. See you then.